Oh boy. I feel like every other week you are hearing about some controversy, this influencer did this YouTuber did that, this celebrity did this, and then everyone's gonna forget it by the next month, so it really doesn't even matter in the end. But today's latest goofy goober is a woman by the name of Lilly Gaddis, who is a trad wife who said the N-word and went viral on the internet. So she said the N-word while cooking, I don't even know what she was cooking, but she was cooking something. Said the N-word, obviously got a lot of backlash.
That's the exception. I'm the rule. Everybody I know who's married right now, they're married to broke and they don't care. We don't give a about your money. I couldn't care less about your money, okay?
And is now the new internet punching bag. Now, Lilly is an inferior species that we call rage baiters. Rage baiters are generally people who have no talent, no personality, no skills or anything like that, but they still want to be famous and like rich just without having to actually work for it. So instead of doing something admirable or cool or funny or bringing up good topics and good points on the internet, they normally say things that are so outrageous and put them on the internet so that they can A, anger people, get under their skins and use them for attention, and B, garner the opposite type of viewers, which are the people who support them because they are speaking so boldly, they're so brave to say something so controversial on the internet. And then that's how they build their following, their fame, whatever, for like the short, weeks that it'll live. Now, I'm not gonna give her too much shine because obviously everyone is kind of already doing that. She's getting exactly what she wants. I'm not really even here to talk a lot about her in particular. I will in a second later on in the video. But as with a lot of my videos, I don't like to put too much focus on the event itself, but more use it as an example to explain a bigger concept, which in this case, this viral influencer is going to be an example of the way humans respond to negativity stronger than they do positivity. And why? Because that's the only reason why these rage baiters can even do well, find success, and get the attention that they want. Humans are naturally drawn more to negativity. Oh, there is a roach. I don't have a slipper here. How do I get rid of him? So I hit him with a maxi pad that I found, and then he dropped and disappeared. So he's probably going to make a guest appearance while I am speaking. So just be prepared for that. Anyways, we respond more to negativity than positivity. And I already knew that for a pretty long while. I mean, it's the reason why news stories and news covers, everything is pretty much more negative than positive. You're not going to see a lot of very happy stories or good stories because those just don't do as well. Or I guess it's not that they don't do well, it's just that negative stories do a lot better. And even with me and YouTube, of course, I read the comments, I try to go through all of them as much as I can, and I get constant support from so many of you, but there is always that one loser down there who just has to say the dumbest things. And I notice I do give them quite a bit more attention than the more positive comments. I guess not more, but it definitely sits in the back of my mind. And I always knew we had this issue of just focusing more on the negative, but I never understood why. Like, I never got an explanation. I don't think I've ever heard what the scientific reason why, because I'm sure there has to be some psychology behind it. I got curious, did a little bit of research, and I'm going to share my results with you because I think it's quite interesting. And it's something I definitely didn't know before doing research. If you did know this already, the small chance that you did, okay, fine, don't watch this video, okay? I got someone saying in my last videos, actually this video is irrelevant because I already know the reason why. Okay, so then why are you here? Not everything knows everything like you, Becky. Well, her name wasn't Becky. Something else. I'm just not gonna say it. Oh, this video is obvious. Oh, you're just pointing out the obvious. Then go rot your brain on TikTok. Because that's what you do anyway. So go do that, okay? Since you know everything. Look at me, already giving in to the negative. You know what? No. We talked about negative comment. Let me put up some good comments on the screen now. Let me put up all the really nice, positive, and supportive comments that I get. I really do appreciate them. Doing things like this, especially on the internet, can be very mentally draining, but I do appreciate all the positive comments I get and a lot of you watching my channel grow and helping it to grow, which I really appreciate. So thank you very much. Okay, anyways, enough being all mushy gushy. Let's get to the science. That's the fun stuff. In 1998, a study was done by researchers Tiffany Ito, Jeff Larson, Kyle Smith, and John T. Cassioppo. I'm very sorry if I messed up his last name. I probably did. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's a cool last name though. I just wish I could pronounce it properly. But these 4 individuals was studying negativity bias. And I will link the full study down in the description below so you can go check it out yourself if you want to read between the details. But for the sake of simplicity in this video, I'm just going to give you the rundown. So they took 33 Ohio State undergrads and ran an experiment on them. So they took their subjects, sat them down, and had them look at a series of photos. 36 of those photos were neutral photos. Basically photos of just like inanimate objects, like a book or a plate or a power plug or something like that. Just random objects. 2 photos out of the 36 neutral were positive photos. So maybe like a roller coaster ride or a group of people smiling and having fun. And then 2 out of the 2 positive and 36 neutral was negative. So it might have been like a picture of a gun pointed at the viewer, or it might have been somebody with a severe injury or something like that. And there were so many neutrals, just in case you were wondering. There's so many neutrals because they needed enough time to properly measure the difference between looking at a neutral, a positive, and a negative. So the neutrals was kind of like the blank canvas, just so we know that this is what their brain looks like when it's normal, it's not, stimulated or anything. And then you have the positive, negative that stimulate the brain. So the researchers were trying to record the brain activity, or the EPRs, which stand for event-related brain potentials. So for each type of photo that was given, the 36 neutral, the 2 positive, and the 2 negative, out of all the photos, the 2 negative photos is what gave the most brain activity. I'll put the results up on a screen. Like I said, the study is down below. It's kind of complicated. You have to look at it for a little bit to fully understand what they're saying. There's a key at the bottom, so if you follow along, you just see like which one, gave the most attention or whatever. So down to a neurological level, your brain just responds more to negativity, just like brain chemistry. Like that's just what it does. Okay, so that's like the very physical brain definition, but there's still the question of why. Why does the brain respond so viscerally to negativity rather than positivity? What's the reason? Why does the brain do that in the first place? And a lot of times psychologists and neurologists will relate it to a cognitive bias that's called loss aversion. Put very simply, it's the pain of losing is twice as powerful as the pleasure of gaining something, even if the loss and the gain are pretty much the same amount. From an article I saw, an example they gave is that if you lose $10, that hits way harder than you finding $10 off the street. Even though $10 is the same amount, you're losing the same amount, you're gaining the same amount, when you lose it, it's just you hold on to it a lot more than you were to just gain it and be like, oh, okay, cool, I got $10. Like it doesn't hit the same. So the negativity tends to hit us twice as hard than the positivity does. Certain parts of our brain that are correlated with memory and fear response and stuff like that, like the amygdala, the striatum, and the insula, they all work together to process our emotions like fear, disgust, and also just noticing danger. And those are the main parts of the brain that are operant while calculating certain events and whether or not they're negative or positive. Like you'll notice you losing your phone and also seeing a dangerous animal or bug like a snake or a big spider, you get that same feeling in your chest, right? That like pit in your stomach the minute you tap your back pocket and suddenly your phone isn't there. And also that pit in your stomach when you see a big old spider that looks like it belongs in Australia. They have very similar reactions, even though both are not on the same plane of danger. But your brain responds to it in the same way. So out of just self-protection, our brain reacts to negativity a lot quicker and a lot more viscerally than positivity to ensure that there is nothing lost or that the body is not in danger. Which is really cool because, again, that showcases how emotionally intelligent humans are, which is something that I talked about in my video talking about trauma dumping and stuff like that. Even if we aren't the people losing something, even if we aren't the people actually experiencing the negative event, our body responds as if it is. We are still going to react and respond to the negativity the same way literally anyone else would. Well, not in the same way, of course, not in the same degree. So, now that we got the science down, back to the rage baiters. They feed off of negativity. Just like little old Miss Lilly, who, launched her influencer career by trying to get everyone upset, which I hate how loosely that word is used nowadays, like influencer. There was an article that literally called her like a star. Oh, the internet star. The internet star. Y'all just throw that title to anybody now. Anyways, she launched her career after saying something really bold. Of course, people in the Black community got really upset. But then you had people on the other spectrum too who was praising her, being like, oh, so bold, freedom of speech, blah, 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 blah. Now, I'm not going to get into the political side of this. As I said before, not a big fan of politics. I don't really care to get too much into it. But she does claim herself to be a conservative, which, like, from my understanding, because I don't really identify with either side. To be honest, I feel like I hold views from both sides. There are things I agree with and disagree with from both liberals and conservatives. But again, not going to dip too much into politics. But she claims to be a conservative. But from my understanding of what a lot of traditional conservatives do, it's not really the way, like, the stuff that she preaches.
Not having kids. You are some stupid motherfuckers out there. The birth rate is declining, and what are you doing? You're getting married. Like, why even bother getting married, you loser?
There are certain things that she said that doesn't align, and that there's really no basis of logic for her reasoning.
Architecture is gay. Cars are gay. Like, look at these electric cars. They're the gayest, ugliest, like, uncool cars imaginable.
What are you talking about? Like, I'm actually just genuinely confused. Like, I don't even know where she's going with this. And I don't know if it's just me, but it looks like when she turns on the camera, she legitimately doesn't know why she turned on the camera. She just started talking.
But I always get it right because I'm always ahead of the curve, and here's why. I don't do what everybody else is doing. What everybody else is doing is always wrong.
It just seems like she didn't really know what to say, but she figured she might as well say something because the stuff is just so out of pocket and random. Oh, he's back. How did he get on the keyboard? Hold on, wait. I'm gonna catch him, guys. Oh shoot, where is he? Oh shoot, there he is. Get him! I didn't get him. No! Go! Oh, where did he go? I think he's on the back of the table. I'm trying to get him before my mom comes down here. This is her office, and she's not gonna be happy there's a roach on the desk. I'm a little disappointed in myself. Where did he go? Okay, just be on the lookout for him, guys. Watch out for him. He's here. Anyways, yeah, there doesn't seem to be an actual basis for anything that she's saying, more than that she's just saying it to get a reaction. Of course, she's a rage baiter. That's what they do. Like, even the original video of her saying the N-word, that definitely didn't come off as natural to me. Like, she just says it, you know, all the time around the house and forgot she was on camera. Like, oh, oops, it slipped out. Like, that seemed like she just said that purposely because she knew she was on camera. Like, that very long pause after it, everything she said before that led up to it, like I said, it was just out of pocket. No one expected it, which is on par for what rage baiters do. Nothing they do makes sense. Nothing they say makes sense. It is solely to get your attention and to get you upset. Like, what does it actually even mean for a car to look gay? What does that even mean? Doesn't matter. Doesn't need to be any logic. Doesn't need to be anything rational, because humans respond emotionally to things first. Almost always that's how it is, generally speaking. Even for more logical people like myself, I would consider myself to be very logical and rational, but all humans respond to things emotionally first before you really start to piece things together and, like, figure out the logic behind it, because she's really not saying anything. And that, like, this girl and just rage baiters in general is the epitome of talking loud but not saying much, actually. So it doesn't matter what, you know, the logic behind cars look gay or whatever she's saying is. The fact is, she said gay and she said something negative in the same sentence. So now you've upset an entire community. And the same thing goes with everything else that she says. I mean, like, I'll pull up some of her tweets. Are they called tweets anymore? Because it's called X. What do you call X? An X post? That's not nearly as cool as tweets. So she says things that are really out of pocket, says things that makes it seem like she's, you know, unbothered by this whole entire thing, but there is no actual logic to her basis, which is another reason why I was, like I said, questioning whether or not she was, like, really a conservative, or if she's just trying to play into their hands of what they like. She'll throw out certain things that kind of align with their views, but then just go on a tangent of literally something that doesn't make sense at all. But like I said, it's not just her. I mean, we see rage baiters all the time, right? Those really obnoxious videos that don't make sense and are purposely there to mess with your brain and just get you mad. they exist because they know they can feed off of anger. They know they can feed off of hatred because humans are just predisposed to react to negativity way stronger than positivity. Not saying we don't give attention and love to positive videos, of course. There are a bunch of feel-good videos you find on the internet, people doing good deeds, but arguably not more attention than negative things tend to do. And it is that initial hatred that just gives whoever it is that's doing the thing all of the power that they need to continue to profit off of everyone. Take Velma, for example, a perfect example. When it came out, everyone just hate watched it, didn't they? It has some of the worst reviews, the worst ratings, literally one of the worst shows, according to people, but everybody still watched it simply so they could hate watch it. And ironically, despite it doing so bad but also doing so well, they're making another season. I believe it already came out, didn't it? The point is, that's the power of anger and hatred. It still brings attention and feedback to that specific person or group or whatever it is. Which is also a good time to mention of how powerful anger and hatred is. Negative emotions are therefore, generally speaking, a lot more powerful than the positive ones. Anger is what brought along a lot of movements. And while we normally try to suppress, I think, more negative emotions, I think when used correctly, they can be something very powerful. Like, I would not consider myself an optimist nor a pessimist. I'm definitely more in the realist zone. I like to look at things realistically. I'm not really seeing the glass as half full or half empty more than I'm just seeing it as a half a cup of water. Because perspective doesn't change the reality, right? It just changes the way you respond to it. Well, I do think it is important to acknowledge the happier things and the more positive things. You also should not suppress the more negative things. Oh, I thought that was the roach. It's paranoid now. Of course, if it's not utilized correctly, it can be self-destructive and destructive to other people. And channeling our energy towards rage baiters is probably not the best way to utilize that anger. Rage bait is always going to exist and be a thing because of humans' innate reaction to negativity. Now, I'm not gonna tell you, what you should do or shouldn't do, engage, don't engage. Like, I see some people saying, oh, remember the big creators told us not to engage. The bigger creators told you. You have a mind of your own, You can choose to do what you want. Like, I feel like that's a big problem nowadays. People just let everyone else think for them. Do what you feel like is best. When they say don't engage, they just mean don't, feed into their trap, don't give them the views and stuff that they want. But I mean, engaging isn't, stitching a video and being like, and that's the end of the video. I'm gonna be honest, you guys really aren't doing much when you do that. If you want to help, that's not how you do that. You don't just sit there and be like, yeah, we're all surprised. We know, but that's not, if you're trying to engage, that's not really helping. If you want to block her channel, report her, whatever it is that you want to do, by all means, go ahead. If you choose to do nothing, whatever. I'm not here to think for you. I'm not here to tell you whether or not you should or should not do something or engage or interact with her. You're welcome to do whatever you want. Like I said, I just wanted to get into the science of rage bait and just anger as a whole and why we tend to be drawn more to negativity than positivity. But I would implore you to just be mindful of that now that you know the science behind it. Understand that while those reactions are very real and it's something just your brain chemistry does on its own, they're doing this to get under your skin. Don't let it happen. That is something that I told myself for the longest time. I like to follow the philosophy of Stoicism, which I've talked about before. It's one of the very many philosophies that I like to hang on to and just think about. And it's just to be unbothered about things that aren't worth your time. So when you see rage bait, I would suggest just remember what it is. Remember what the point is. Remember they're feeding off of your negativity and they're getting money from that. But yeah, that's all I wanted to talk about today. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.